Alrighty. Doing the next couple of chapters. We're doing Eddard, Jon, and Catelyn. So for Ned's chapter, we have the arrival of King Robert and his whole entourage. I like how closely to the first episode of the show this is. Like, he gets there, he says hello, they do some greetings. He's like, all right, take me to see Lyanna. He's just like on it. I felt bad for Cersei because, you know, they just got there. You have to just like let everyone know how much you think about this woman, but at the same time, who cares? It's Cersei. Robert and Ned talk while they're walking down into the crypt. I love how okay, here's the thing. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes when I read books, descriptions can get so long to where you're just like, oh my god, get to the point. And it's like, the leaf was paper brown with a hint of yellow, a sparkle of green, still at the tips of, like, I don't care about this one leaf. Can you just tell me about the tree and move on? I love how he's able to give you details so you feel the environment that you're in without it being overbearing and without wanting to pull your fucking hair out. Have you ever read Lord of the Rings? Sometimes Lord of the Rings was a little bit, it was a little bit. It was much. This doesn't go that far. Like, you feel like you're like ensconced in this world, and you can, like, when they're going down to the crypt, you can feel like it getting colder. You can feel that it's dark. Like, you know, Ned strands the light and you can hear things scurry. Like, I love how there's detail, but it's not so much where you just like want to vomit. We have the first inkling that something's up in this one with the promise me Ned. I thought it was interesting, you know, Robert said, you know, damn you, she shouldn't be down here. She should be on a hill with the clouds above her and the sunlight. And Ned's like, no, her place is here with, you know, her father and brother. Given that we know what we know, I wonder if she would really did want to be buried there, or how she would have preferred to be laid to rest. Because obviously she didn't want to marry Robert, you know. They talk about Lord Aaron. Lysa got the hell out of Dodge. She was like, peace out. And she took her son and left. He was going to be given to Lord Tywin as a ward. Like, no one would, who? No. Ned was right. Like, he wouldn't, like, what, that kid would be better off with fucking wolves. Like, why would you? But, you know, Robert is married to a Lannister, so I love that, even though, you know, Robert has his faults, and he has a lot of faults, but he does love Ned. He is his brother to him, and he still wants them to be joined. So he's like, you know, your daughter can marry Joffrey, and, you know, we can join our houses. We can be brothers. Like, you can feel their broship. You feel the bromance. I love it. I did think it was interesting that the last paragraph of Ned's chapter, he said he felt like a foreboding that this was his place. And you know Ned means like the north. His place is in the north. But the fact that he's having that thought in a crypt is horrible. You know, he meant like the north is his place. He didn't want to go south, but he's having that thought in a crypt. Don't ever think while you're in a crypt or in a graveyard, this is my place. No, exit the graveyard first and then say that while you're just like on the street in the city. Like, don't say that in a graveyard. That's asking for trouble. Ned just does things and it pisses me off sometimes. Okay, Jon. So I've said a dozen times, Jon was not my favorite character. I really didn't care about him until the 6th season. His story is the story. I get it. I just didn't like his character. Fight me. I didn't like show Jon at all. Book Jon, I love. And his first chapter is my favorite chapter in the whole book. Drunk Jon is fun Jon. I want him to be drunk all the time. Drunk and eating and laughing and puking, or did he puke? He didn't puke, but like, you know, he was just like having fun, and then he talks with Benjen and gets a little agitated, but I love Book Jon. I really do. I like how observant he is with watching them all come in. You can tell he didn't like Joffrey. He just got that icky feeling from him, which he should. I love that when little Rickon was coming in, he saw Jon and like got distracted and went to him, and Jon had to tell him like, no, keep walking. Like, you can tell that his brothers, like all his siblings love him. Well, maybe not Sansa, but like they all like love him, you know, and he has a good relationship with them. Damn it, Catelyn. Like, this pisses me off. And he's, you know, he's very observant. He could tell that something was bothering his dad. Him and Benjen talked about that, and that was when Benjen said, you know, we could use eyes like yours on the wall. He's like, take me, please, because, I mean, damn, he's not really made to feel very welcome where he is right now, Catelyn. Oh, and I also like that they also added in here that Theon completely ignored him, because he's an asshole. I love that Ghost had his own paragraph in here when the dog tried to come and take his chicken. He was like, no. I will kill you, even if you are bigger than me. One of Jon's heroes was the young dragon who conquered Dorne. And it's like, oh, that's your family. Yes, you should like your family. It's good to like know the end. So when you read it again, or like you read it, it's like, yes. You know, Jon says adamantly he will never father a bastard. We'll see about that, Jon. And then, of course, his lovely interaction with Tyrion, who apparently has springs in his little bones in the book. He's like bouncing all over the place. I love the favorite line. They're talking about mothers, and Jon said, I don't even know who my mother was. And Tyrion says, some woman, no doubt. Most of them are. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. There's usually a woman involved somehow. I love this chapter. I know that's probably strange, but this is my favorite chapter in the book. And then we go back to Catelyn. And like I said, I defended her last time. That's over. Because then we have this chapter where everything she says and thinks, I just want to like wring her fucking neck. Except for not wanting her kids to go because she's going to miss them. I get that. That would kill me too. But every other thought she has, I just want to smack her around, which you should never do. I'm saying metaphorically, smack her around. But before we get to that, can we get to this paragraph about after they make love and her loins still ached from the urgency of his lovemaking. It was a good ache. She could feel his seed within her. She could still give him a child. She was young enough. Ooh, who writes that? Like, other than romance novelists. Like, that whole paragraph, I was cringing the whole time. Like, really? And I know I nitpick a lot of things, but I'm just like, oh my god. Maybe, or you know, like, that was her role, was to produce more heirs, and she just loved him so much. But whatever. My grandma had 11 kids, and we talked about sex all the time. Never did she ever talk about like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who does that? Like, Ned and Catelyn are having a talk about Robert's offer for him to be the hand of the king, and then she brings up Brandon, and I never really thought about the fact that Brandon was supposed to marry Catelyn and be Lord of Winterfell, and then he died, and then Ned had to step into those shoes. Like, he would have been a bannerman and hold another place, but he wouldn't have been Lord of Winterfell. That must be a very hard thing to think about, that wasn't supposed to be your thing initially, but because your sibling dies, that now falls on you, and now you're standing in the place where basically he would have been Lord, this would have been his wife, and you're just kind of a stand-in. That probably doesn't sit very well. Is like a cloud over him all the time. I never really thought about that, because of course they don't really mention Brandon and all that stuff in the show, so but yeah, it's and it made me think about Tommen too. I'm sure I'll bring it back up again later on, but Tommen standing in later on, I think he and Marjorie had a discussion about that in the show. Anyway, Mr. Lewin comes in, tells him the message, or gives Catelyn the message. She reads it, tells him that Jon Arryn has been poisoned by the queen. So says Lysa, who we know is lying. This basically forces Ned's hand at becoming the hand and spins everything else after this. And it makes you wonder if none of that had gone down, or even if Jon Arryn had died and Ned said no, like what would the course of everything have been after that? Tywin probably would, you think Tywin maybe would have become the Hand if Ned had said no? Who would he have picked to be the Hand? But again, with this foreboding thing with Ned, he says, my father went south and then he never came home again. Like, dude, don't say stuff like that right before you take the job and you go south. People don't learn. It's one thing to know those things, but you don't say them out loud. You don't speak them into existence. You're just jinxing yourself left and right, man. And then, of course, Catelyn asks about the children. She doesn't want them to go. And you bring up Jon, and she becomes a bitch again. I get it. I understand. Like I said, I defended her last time. This time, how can you love this man so much and you forgive him but you can't forgive this child? I know it will be a constant reminder. I get that. But at some point, and over these last 14 years, you need to have gotten over that. And the fact that Ned lets her openly disdain him, it's okay for her to like not love him or not like him and have that feeling toward him. But he lets her openly disdain this kid. He lets her openly show like just complete, what's the word I'm looking for? Hatred towards this kid who he's calling his son, you know, and he knows it's unjustified. Sorry, but he needs to like put a stop to that. It's my son. You won't have to like him, but you will not treat him that way. Chill out. You know, like, ugh. And she did bring up the point that his, you know, if he did get married and have grandkids, they could someday come and contest Winterfell or whatever. I understand that, but calm down. But she didn't have to worry about it anymore because he's going to the wall, and she's like, oh, thank God. And she was smart. She kept her mouth shut, because if she had said one word, I would have jumped in this book and knocked her out with the shovel. But she kept her mouth shut. Because I'm pretty sure if she had said something too, Ned would have been like, that's all for right now. The next time, let's see, how long are these? Alright, so the next one will be Arya, Bran, and Tyrion. So that's Arya 1, Bran 2, and Tyrion 1. And that will hopefully be up on Saturday. That's it. Hope you're enjoying reading it. Put your thoughts below. If I missed something you want me to comment on next time, put it below. I'll probably read it before I can record the next video, so we can go back over that if you want to. And that's it. I'll see you Saturday. Have a good week. Bye.